Strong women are admired in almost every area of life, in our careers, our leadership, our resilience, but in dating. Sometimes the very strength that helped us build our life can quietly become the thing that keeps us lonely. Let's talk about it. Today, we're talking about something many accomplished women experience but rarely name. The strong woman trap is what we're calling it. You built a strong life, you're capable, responsible, disciplined, and independent, but sometimes the very habits that help you succeed professionally can quietly make partnership harder. When does independence become isolation? Why is receiving support sometimes harder than giving it? How do you keep your strength without building walls around your heart? Welcome to Live, Love, and Marry Wiser. I am your host, Lorraine Edwards. I am one of those women. We have seen so many relationships go over the edge that we have committed our voices to building better fences at the cliff. So we need fewer ambulances in the valley. And with
Yes.
me today, as usual, to bring some fence building wisdom is my co-host, Onita.
Hey y'all. Hey, how you doing, Lorraine?
I'm doing well. Thank you. How are you?
I'm doing good. Happy to be here with you, my friend.
Happy to have you here as well as always. If you want to catch up on my dating life, wait till next week because there's nothing to talk about this week. But we do talk about those things at the end. So stay with us till the end so you can hear about that. So today, the strong woman trap when independence morphs into isolation or loneliness, you could even say. This topic is particularly close to my heart because I resonate with it. Um, and I'll tell you more about just kind of my experiences as we go throughout the episode. But we really want to talk about three things today: how the strong woman trap forms, how it shows up in dating and relationships, and what healthy strength actually looks like in partnership. Now, what I want to start off with is saying that this is not an accusation. We're not trying to make any situation. And when we talk about um, how this strong woman trap forms, it's really when I said it morphs into isolation because it it happens and it's almost kind of a vicious cycle, Onita. And as we kind of as we kind of talk about this, I'll explain what I mean by that. So when number one, when independence turns into self-sufficiency, independence is healthy, right? That's not a bad thing. Um, but
Right.
but the trap happens when it becomes I don't need anyone. Now, let me be clear on my end. I don't have that mindset at all. Um, in fact, we have a community of women that support and love each other. We'll tell you about that later. I have, many friends. I have a tight friend group that I've had for, couple decade and a half, 2 decades and a half, really. Um, and so I've never felt like, oh, I don't need anyone. I don't need a man. I don't, all of that stuff. But I want to start off with this that many of us, I'm going to say us a lot because I'm just going to be upfront. Many of us have built our lives be, around solving our own problems. And I'm going to let you jump in here, Onita, after I say what I'm about to say. And that's uh in a sense it's a two-edged sword. And so I'm going to say that when you're single as an adult, you have to solve your problems, right?
Yes.
I
Yes.
mean, there's no one else around to solve them. But the cycle can become, not always, but it can become that people, that men, because that's what we're talking about. We're talking about love and relationships and dating. That when you can solve your own problems, and I've been told this, people are like, "Oh, you're intimidating, drive
Mm-hmm.
me crazy." Um, you know, a man doesn't know, like, you don't need him. And here the challenge is that when you don't have a man, you can't need him because otherwise things don't get done that have to
Right.
be done. But it doesn't mean you don't want him, and it doesn't mean that you wouldn't like to have someone to be with and rely on and partner with. But it becomes its own self-fulfilling prophecy, really,
Mm-hmm.
because you have to solve your problems or be, a victim. But then when men see you solving your own problems, then they think you don't need them to solve their problems. And I don't need anyone to necessarily solve my problems. Some of them maybe, but it's like you can't get out of this cycle, because how do you stop solving the problems that are here right now and dealing with the things that are here right now, so that someone can then notice that you need them? And how do they notice that? So I'm all
Right.
over the place, but I'm gonna let you respond to that. Help me
No,
out with that.
no, that was really good because, like you said, on one hand, I ain't got nobody to call for help, so I got to do it myself,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so, but then because you become good at it, because the more we do something, the stronger we get at it. It becomes a strength. Then you have men looking and saying, "Oh well, she don't need me. She got this." And it is a double edged sword, but it's also why some men go, we had the whole episode about masculine women. It is not because the female
Mm-hmm.
looks masculine; it's the fact that she's having to do all the things on both sides,
Yeah.
and
No,
so
that's good.
and then sometimes that's the intimidation. It's just that, hey, she's grinding harder than I'm grinding. She don't need me. She's got all the answers. She's able to lead and manage and do all the things. Where do I fit in? And what you're saying is, hey, these strong women too are saying, hey, bro, come here. I need you to come and pick up some of this load, so I don't have to do it. And
Mm-hmm.
again, we're talking here to singles, but there's married people having the same issue
Yeah, you're right.
where
You're right.
where the woman is still carrying a lot of the stuff. She's working and also doing most of the active parenting. She's working
Mm-hmm.
and so doing the majority of the chores at home. She's working and so keeping up with everybody's schedule, always taking care of everybody when they're sick, even when she's sick, and all the things. And we're saying, hello, here's my white flag. Man, what else do I need to do,
Right.
before you to come in and aid? And so our, again, like you said, we're trying to help our sisters though that are doing everything, try to have that balance of how do we pivot from being so self-sufficient, um to where there's a softness, because I think that's a big part of the soft girl era of allowing others in. So it's not just about, I'm no longer going to grind as hard, which we shouldn't have. The Bible never said hustle and grind. It was ease and flow and relying on Christ, who's our provider. So
Mm,
that's part of our soft girl era. But then the other aspect of that is knowing when to say, or being able to set boundaries for yourself and say no to some of these things and actually say, I need help. How do you transition to that state when this has been your norm for so long?
mm-hmm.
How do you get there? Keep talking with us. We'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I That's a great question. And, I think I was maybe saying to you one time, I don't know, it could have been whoever, Ebony, or that I want to be in my soft girl era. But how do you get there? Because life is still life. There's still decisions to make. There's still things to do. You still got to get to, get your oil change and tires fixed. And, you still got to know all of that stuff or figure out that stuff. And I can't tell you how many things in my life I've just had to Google because I didn't know how to do them. But like, I'm not trying to pay someone to come and fix something if I can fix it myself at my house or whatever. If I had a man who could do now, let's be clear, not all men can do that stuff either.
Right.
But I would rather him have to Google it and fix it than me to Google it and fix it. You don't have to know all that stuff. But, you know, I am, and this is probably just an emotional topic for me or whatever, but Sister Taya, I'm
Yeah.
tired. I'm tired of figuring everything out. I'm tired of making every decision. I'm tired of having to wonder how everything's going to work. And then you get the sorry y'all, like sorry.
It's
And
okay,
then
sis.
you get the criticism of being too masculine or not needing a man or being independent or all that stuff. And it's like you can't win, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I know that I'm not the only, Lord have mercy, where is this coming from? I know I'm not the only woman, particularly of my age, who is feeling that. Because it's like, what can I do to win
Yeah.
if, like, I'm too intimidating because I'm capable? And that means you want someone who's incapable or someone who is a victim or someone who needs to be rescued. I don't want to be rescued. I just want to be in partnership with somebody so that the full weight of life is not just on my shoulders.
Yes.
And I hope I'm not going to cry throughout the whole episode because that's not really going to work. But I'm like, uh, but but it's such a it's like you can't win for losing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because if you're not capable, but you don't have anyone to whatever rescue you as people seem to want, then your life falls apart. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so it's very hard to be this person. It's very hard to be that person. It's very hard to be soft or walk in your feminine energy when you're having to make masculine decisions
Yeah.
and handle masculine problems, because there are things that I do believe that in a perfect world, of course, in a perfect world, there wouldn't be any problems like we have, but still, there would still be life,
Yeah.
And when Adam and Eve sinned, God was just like, I know that, we had a debate around, are men providers? Not providers in the sense of that they are the source, but they are the workers who take care of the family.
Mhm.
Now, of course, women do that too as well. But God said to Adam, you're going to have to work to get your food. God is still the one who makes the things grow. God is still the one who, brings things to life. God is still the one that gives you the power to get wealth. But God doesn't give you wealth. He gives you the power to get wealth. And so he's saying you still have to go out and work for this. And Adam was the one who was designated to do that. And Eve was the one who was designated to be the childbearer and the mother and take care of the home and stuff. And the implication there is those are roles. Now we know women work and men stay home and all of these different things.
Mhm.
I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I'm just saying God's ideal for us was
Yes.
different. And so when you have to do all of those things, obviously I'm not bearing any children or whatever, but like when you still have to do all of those things and you do them by yourself, then it becomes hard to be then, well, now I got to take all that off and be the feminine thing, woman, needy, whatever it is that is so attractive to men, some men, not all men, because some men like some men don't think like that. They're just like, but so that's just like my little rant, and I'm gonna let you talk because I'm gonna want to stop, right?
No, this is listen. This is where we help you live, love, and marry wise, and we keep it real. We keep it 100 because having to be emotional, self sufficient is exhausting.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and we do not take it lightly. Having to carry all the responsibility alone, we know there's a thing as decision exhaustion. These are real things, and
Mm-hmm.
so we have to call it what it is, and help people. Sometimes people don't even know the tears come. Sometimes we can't even identify or put the words to it. Can't even put the words to it. And like I said, there's single women and married women having the same concerns, these same hurts and matters of their
Mm-hmm.
heart. And so it helps to be able to put words to it. To that alone helps. Somebody may be like, oh, that's what this is. This is what's happening. And so, thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing your heart. And so here's the trap, y'all. Like what we want to point out is that when you are so emotional self sufficient, that strength becomes a trap when it removes the need for connection.
Mm-hmm.
So hear that.
Yeah.
Lois saying, "Hey, I want the connection. I'm doing all the things, and I'm looking for the love." But when the trap is you becoming so emotional self sufficient that now you don't no longer have a need for connection. So maybe
Mm-hmm.
somebody is trying to connect with you, but you're like, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good.
But you're not really good.
But you're not
You're
really
so
good.
used to it that you don't even open yourself up to.
Open yourself to it. I hear so many women, and I would say 40 plus, is particularly, I can say even some of my church group, they're like, girl, I ain't got time. I ain't got time to be having to train no man. I ain't got time. But then there's moments
Mm.
of where they're spending holidays alone. They're spending vacations by themselves a lot. And not to say that people don't enjoy their own company, because
Yeah.
I get that. I do too. But nobody grew up as a little girl who went imagine their wedding day now are saying, oh, I want to spend the rest of these days alone.
Mm-hmm.
Christ didn't intend for us to do this
Absolutely.
journey alone either.
Mm-hmm.
And so, we praise God that we have a community of women that we are a part of, the praying sisters, that we can be there for one another. And that's the other trap that some women who are so self sufficient won't even join a community
Mm-hmm.
of women who can help hold them accountable, help call them in, and be there for each other because there's danger in that to them to say I'm out of control.
Mm-hmm.
Control means safety for me, and so
Mm.
I don't even want to connect with the women
Mm-hmm.
because other people weren't there for me. So now I need to feel safe. I got to control all the variables. And so
Yes.
that's a trap, though. That's a trap of the enemy because
Mm-hmm.
when I also am so self sufficient, I'm ultra independent. I'm also prone to not rely and depend on God the way He wants me to.
Mm. Mm.
And so we have to be careful with being so ultra independent that it doesn't just go into our dating life, but it spirits over into our spiritual life. It's hard. It's hard not to do that when I got me all the time. I
Yeah.
got me.
Mm-hmm.
I did this. Nobody else can do it for me, so I got to do it.
Yeah. And I'll add to that, that one of the issues, and I've had this problem too, when you spend so much time doing stuff for yourself that you stop even asking people to help you when there are
Hmm.
people who actually would help you. This didn't necessarily mean like a man or partner, but I remember when I had my house, I never had a house, and even as a child, we didn't really live in a house. Most of the time we lived in apartments, so there
Mhm.
was, people, maintenance and whatever, who took care of our, apartment. um and even when we did, we rented, so it was like a landlord and stuff.
Mhm.
And so I didn't have that experience of growing up mowing the lawn and all of this type of thing. And then you got to buy a lawnmower. I didn't have any place, have to store a lawnmower. It was just like a whole lot of stuff. Um, and two stories. One day I came home and my lawn was mowed. Now I used to like I paid for someone to come and do it.
Mhm.
But I think it had been a few weeks since I had done that. And or I'm not sure the order, but anyway, one day I came home and my lawn was mowed, and I was just like, "Er," you know, it's very strange. Um, and but I didn't know, like, there was no, I didn't know who did it or how it got done, but I mean, I was
Mhm.
happy. And then one day I was home from work, and I heard, this was like weeks later or whatever. I was home from work, and I think it was that the person who had been mowing my lawn, like something was, either he was sick or something was going on with him. And so it had been a while. And then I heard a lawnmower, and it seemed really close. So I looked out my window, and there was this guy on a lawn riding lawnmower mowing my lawn. So I went out there and I was just like, hey. And he said, he lived in the neighborhood. I lived on a cul-de-sac, but he didn't live on the cul-de-sac. I never seen him before. But he lived in the neighborhood, and he said this was his ministry, like to help people who needed that, their lawn mowed. And so he did it. And I obviously I don't know him. I wouldn't have been like, "Hey, can you mow my lawn?" But there were probably people in my life that I could have asked
Mhm.
help with that. Actually, Renee's son Christian did it for a while before he stopped doing that. The other thing is, there was this guy at my church who, he was very handy, and he would always be going to people's homes and helping fix stuff, and he would hardly charge anything for it. He just liked doing it. He was tired, and he had enough money. And I asked him, and he came, and he like cleaned my gutters, and he did a couple of other things that I was not getting on a ladder to clean no gutter. Like, I forget that. um,
Yeah.
and so, this is the other side of it, is just, you know appreciating that, maybe just sometimes we get so locked into our position and our way that we don't look around and see that there are people who would be willing to help you if you need that. And the reason that's important, first of all, so that you aren't having to do everything yourself, but it also helps you when you do get into a relationship. Because
Mhm.
if there's you have a partner, a husband who wants to support you and be there for you, but you never let him because you're so used to not. That's what you're saying. Like, the trap is that
Mhm.
I don't need that. And so now it's not really a healthy relationship. A relationship cannot grow where one person has built a life that requires no partnership.
Mm.
And so even if this person isn't a permanent partner, they're helping you with the lawn, they're helping you with some maintenance stuff. And even him, Alvin,
Mhm.
uh Alvin from Ephesus, or
Mhm.
he came over and did some work for me. when I was getting ready to rent the house out, or I think I might have already rented it, and there were some things that needed to be fixed. He came over, and so these are all people that helped me. And had I asked them before that, there were things that I would not necessarily have had to navigate myself. Though I think it's good to know some things if
Mm-hmm.
you are willing. And so I think that in order to avoid the trap is to practice asking for help, even sometimes when you may not technically need it.
Mm-hmm.
Figure it out, you can whatever. But there's someone who loves to do what you're asking. There's someone who knows how to do it. They don't have to figure it out. They don't got to Google it. They don't got to ask Chat GPT or AI. They just know. And that just really hones your interdependent,
Yes.
your skill of being interdependent versus just independent. Does that?
Yes. No, yes, that's so good, and the fact is, you still at least receive the help. And the problem, a lot of times, about many strong women is, great at giving, great at fixing things,
Mm-hmm.
carrying all the stuff, holding everything together, but so hard to receive.
Mm-hmm.
So hard to receive. And to your point, in partnership, you can't do that. Like, not for healthy partnership. You're going to have to be able to also receive because both people are contributing in the relationship. And so, get uncomfortable. Sometimes, like I said, it's to frustrate me. Victor didn't change the diaper the way I wanted him to. And I'd be like, Lord, have mercy. I got it. And, one of the beautiful mothers of my church said, you better let him change that diaper. Who cares he did it the right way? You're going to get mad one day because you're like, he never changed his diapers. And I was like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
let me, let him, you know what? Let me, because you're right. She's right. Then I would have been frustrated and mad because, I didn't let him
Yes.
now because he's not changing them. And so
Mhm.
even compliments sometimes because you're good at giving and you're strong. Hard to take a compliment.
Mm,
Take the
mm.
compliment.
Oh, that's good.
You
That's
know,
good.
take the compliment. I mean, yes, we want to we have humility, but a lot of times because us doers and strong women can't even take the compliment sometimes. Take the compliment. Say
Take the
thank you. No excuses. Even and now sometimes I don't feel like this is not taking comment. I feel like it's a win when somebody go, that's a beautiful dress. You be like, girl, I got this for or this little thing. And now I feel like that's one of those areas where I think that's a little gray where I'm like, that to me that is still a brag. Like if I can say I got this for really good price, then I'm taking a compliment, but I'm also letting you know, girl, I stay and a win is a win. A win is a win.
You be like, well, you could be like, "Thank you, girl. You won't believe how I found this deal, you know." And so
Yes.
I look good and I save money,
And
you
I
know.
say money. The girl math was math in that day.
Yes,
But
that's good.
recognize, yeah. So taking on, taking being able to, allow the help. And to your point, there's people right now in your life that would probably help. It's just that when you're so strong and you're so used to doing it all, typically people don't ask for it or allow the help to come in. So allow it, my sisters. Allow it.
Oh, that's good, man. That's really good. I promise you, I have become much better at receiving in the last two and some change since we started this community.
Hmm.
Because I was really not good at it before that. And I, worked on it, but part of being in the community, praying sisters, is having to be open and vulnerable in order for it to be effective for you. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like
Yes.
you can be in there and just like be on the sidelines and not say nothing or do anything, but you don't really get the value from that. And really the people who do that, they they don't, most of them haven't lasted long. We've had a few people, come and go, but it's because they haven't really um taken full advantage of what the community can be. Um And I know it's difficult, but nothing worth it is hard, is easy.
That's
But
right.
but I think that having to be honest about like my situation, sometimes business, finances, those type of things, and you all having surreptitiously periodically like hitting sowing seeds, as you like to say, into me, that would have been much more awkward and uncomfortable for me in the past. Now I'm like, so on, sister. And I need something to grow up in here. But
Hmm.
um, especially from a financial perspective, like I wasn't, asking for help or seeking that. Um, and so I do think that, you know, we haven't talked a lot about this, but I talk about this when I speak to singles, like when I do speaking engagements about preparing for marriage.
Yeah.
And I think this is a really important area. You touched on it, and maybe you can say some more about it, just from your own personal experience. But um, receiving help, like when your husband wants to help you, don't be like, no, you didn't. No, I don't want you to help me, or no, you didn't do it the right way, or no, whatever. Because that typically the right way is just in your mind and your preference. It don't really got nothing to do with it. As long as the poop ain't coming out of the diaper, it's still fine. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Right.
um, support. But here's another one: leadership.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
if you can't receive leadership from your husband, then that's going to be a problem in your relationship
Yes.
if you have the right husband, because the right husband is going to want to take the responsibility of leading the family, casting vision for the family, not without your input. Obviously, we're not talking
Yeah.
about dictatorship, but if you aren't practicing, and that's a weird, like, I hadn't really thought about this before, but practicing putting yourself in positions where you have to follow someone else's leadership. Not,
Yes.
you might be at work or whatever, and not the top person. That's one thing. But even being surrendered to that, because sometimes we're just like, oh, my idea is better or whatever, and maybe your idea is better. But if we've decided on what the idea is going to, it's the same in marriage. Sometimes your
Hmm.
idea is better than Victor's idea,
Yeah.
but you're like, no, I'm submitted to the leadership. And so we go this direction, and maybe it works and you're like, oh wow, that's cool. And maybe it doesn't work, and but you don't say, see,
I,
I told you.
right.
Like, that's not what you say, because
Right.
this, not if you want to keep on being happy, you know it's like, so practicing that in situations where you are not, obviously married yet, practicing submitting to leadership.
Hmm.
And so, like, these are practical. And I'm like really learning a lot right now, even as we're talking about this. Like, we're not bringing all the, we learn as we talk as well.
Hmm.
As women, we process as we communicate much more often. But being uh, being able to receive that kind of support, help, leadership, and care, like having someone take care of you. Wow. Practice accepting that, you
Yeah.
know but you also have to start with actually asking someone for help. So
Yeah. That's so good, and you're bringing on the great points of, again, that you know if you're strong, and a lot of times, me again, you're strong and trying to maintain control, or being so guarded that you're not open. If you want a relationship, you're going to have to work on that guardedness, because it requires vulnerability. It requires you being open and emotionally available.
mm,
Like, these are things that a healthy relationship requires on both sides. And I dare say, again, because the way God made us as women, we're typically the ones that do that easier.
Right.
We're typically all, we're naturally, usually vulnerable. But in having to wear all of the hats, unfortunately, sometimes you become this strong, guarded woman to protect yourself and maintain control. So when the idea comes to I want partnership, a huge pivot has to take place. And it may not happen overnight because nothing does. But here's the key component you said: if I'm going to be in a relationship with this man, even just the way that God sets it up, he is now the head of me. And so if we're going into marriage,
Mm-hmm.
then that means I need to be able to agree to disagree sometime, or just agree for the sake of for the sake of
Just agree.
here's the vision. He's laid it down. I may not, because that's part of our thing is needing to see all the steps. Okay, but I
Mm-hmm.
want to get from A to Z. And he's got the vision. He's already seen Z. And it's like, Lord have mercy. What are we doing? Jesus? It takes a lot of prayer, of course, and understanding, but foundationally, if you're not able to do that in the dating, like even just allowing a
Mm-hmm.
plan to date, if you're having
Mm-hmm.
to dictate every date, or I don't like that restaurant, I don't
Mm-hmm.
want to go there. Hey, we would like try bowling. I mean, I've gone bowling before, but I really wasn't really that good at it. I don't want to go again. Like if you let this person make those decisions, and mind you, there's a sister on another end praying for the guy that set the dates.
Mm-hmm.
You're trying to you
So
over
they
here,
ain't got to think of everything all the
you ain't
time.
got to do everything over there, but you over here in your strong woman mindset, trying to direct every aspect. You already got the list. I don't eat. I don't want to eat at this restaurant. I don't want to try this thing. I'm not open to. You're not ready for a relationship and partnership,
Mm-hmm.
because you're gonna have to. I just have to. You should desire, because again, the goal is not dependence. If we're gonna be in a relationship, it's partnership. Lorraine just said that, and so in my partnering with this person, I have to be vulnerable enough to say, you know what? I really can't see the vision. It scares me a little bit, but I'm going to trust that you have my best intentions in mind. You have our best intentions in mind, and that you will not lead me over a cliff. And
Mm-hmm.
recognizing, like you said, that it may not go all as planned,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm in this partnership. So that means I'm in it for the long haul, and dare not ever say, I told you so. Lord have mercy.
Lord have mercy. You shouldn't
Lord,
say that to anybody, really.
right, to anybody, right, to
Nobody
anybody.
wants to hear that.
Because Jesus got many of I told you so moments for our sake
Yeah,
as
he
well.
does. He does. He does. He does. He got like a million of
Okay,
them
we hard
for each
headed.
of us.
We hard headed. We so smart. We so stupid. Like Jesus, like I took and told you, but we did it. But we did it anyway. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and so for partnership, you're gonna have to be able to trust. Um, and if you do things in order, if you don't start off on the
Right.
flipping side, you're starting off already with the physical. You can't build that trust.
Mm-hmm.
If you're starting off, then you got the pyramid inverted the wrong way. It's not,
Mm-hmm.
it's
Yeah,
just
that's
we get
good.
together physically first. We haven't even discussed the values, our goal. We haven't gotten to know each other. Then you won't be able to ever build any of this
Yeah.
with the person, not the way that it's going to be healthy in the way that God intended it.
No,
Um,
that's good. That's good.
but letting people in, and if you can do it, even just with friends, that's the start. If you can start letting other women see the real you, if you can start being vulnerable even about one person. We're talking about this on our
Mm-hmm.
Sunday. We're at chapter 10 now on the garden within the women's ministry. And even just that, some women are honest to say that even them coming to church, they still don't feel like they have one close friend in the church,
Mm.
which is
Mm.
a sad truth. But and because again, people sit and hey, suffer in silence all the time, but it's because of the pain and the hurt and the distrust that may have happened with one female long ago, or their family, whatever the situation is. But as they're healing, people are open now. They're more open to friendship. And I say, listen, I tell my kids this even now: pray about your friend. God, who It don't have to be a lot of them, but God, who is a person, one person that I know or maybe not have met yet that I can be in true friendship with. We
Mm-hmm.
can be vulnerable with each other. She can be a confidant to me and vice versa. It don't
That's
have to be a
good.
lot, but at least starting with one will help open you up to where you're able to see what a
Mm-hmm.
healthy relationship looks like, and being vulnerable and being interdependent and sharing responsibility. Like, just a friend will help you then be able to transition to, okay, when now I'm looking for a love partner.
Absolutely. No, that's good. That's good. Um, and what I want to, make sure that we say is that we're not saying you're not capable, but we're saying, or to stop being capable. We're saying
Mhm.
it is capacity to share responsibility. That's what you're think. That's what we're looking at. And so, in order to practice that before you get into a relationship where you realize this is a problem, like Onita said, use your relationships outside of romantic, your friends, your parents, your church members, maybe not all of them, but
Mhm.
it's not true that there's not one safe person in your whole church. That's just not true.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mhm.
there are definitely some toxic churches around. There's also some toxic workplaces, and ain't nobody talking about that too much. It's like, so we got to realize, but there are safe people. We have to just be. Sometimes we have to take the initiative, and
Yeah.
that's kind of what I was saying earlier. That there were people who were willing to help me, but I didn't ask. You know, there are
Yeah.
people who are willing, who need a friend too.
Yeah.
So if you were like, hey, you want to go out to lunch one day, you don't have to spill your whole heart to them the first day. You just can eat lunch and get to know each other. You know what I'm saying? There's someone at your
Mhm.
church, there's someone at your job, there are people, there's someone in your neighborhood who feels just the same level of, loneliness, because they're strong for themselves too.
Yeah.
And so it's just the capacity to share responsibility and to look out for one another. Partnership requires contribution from two people, not competence from one.
Yes.
And I think that, this is a very important aspect of, you said something that I really wanted to touch on. And of course, I've now forgotten what that is. But, um, but I think that, I'm just going to talk until it comes back to me. I think, because that's what we do. Um, I think that when you are we talked about letting someone, lead and being submitted to that leadership. Um, I think that we have to recognize that when you, what you, oh, this is what you said that know that they have the best intentions for the both of you. And that really ties back to our several episodes that we've talked about, but certainly our episode from last week talking about red flags,
Mhm.
is that these things that we're saying right now don't apply to the red flag man. They apply to the man that is healthy and green
Yes.
flag. And so, I'll post that up here so you can look at that if you missed it. But there's vetting that happens before we get to capacity to share responsibility and submitting to leadership, and all of those things, because the red flag, and really you can start to weed out people from these things. Like, if you ask a man for help and he either says yes and doesn't do it, or says no, that's a red flag. Like,
Right there.
why do you think that's going to change in the marriage? It's actually going to get worse.
Mhm.
So, or he can't ever figure anything out, because that's my thing. I didn't know how to do a lot of stuff. I just figured it out. I want a man who can figure stuff out even when he doesn't know, because I don't expect
Yes.
any man to know everything. Nobody knows everything. But he's just like, well, what can we do? And then
Mhm.
he's able to then come up with a plan for our family, for us.
Yeah.
And so you need partnership that, it's contribution to from two people, not competence from one. It's
Yes.
You don't have to be the one that's holding the relationship together.
Yes. Yes. That's good. That's good. My one of my notes I had here was letting love in requires rewriting old survival skills. So we
Mm,
get it that you didn't become independent. You didn't wake up one day and say, "I want to be independent.
yes.
I want to do everything on my own." We get it.
Yeah.
Life
We totally get it.
experiences, all those things that happened to you had you just had to survive, and it was just relying on you became your safest option.
Mm-hmm.
So that survival taught you independence, but healing teaches you partnership.
Yeah,
So it's time to rewrite. It's time to rewrite those old skills.
it
Let
is.
God in and work on your healing.
And I'll add, Onita, that there's still going to be people that you can't rely on, that you're going to
Yes.
ask for help, and they're going to not be reliable. And then
Mm-hmm.
you just keep it moving. Like, you just know that that person may be funny, that person may be fun, that person may be like whatever, but you can't
Hmm.
rely on them. But it doesn't mean that everybody has to be in that category, because
Right.
everyone isn't in that category. So I just wanted to say that, so people don't think, well, I got hurt again. Okay, because we live in a sinful world, you're gonna keep getting hurt. You're gonna
Yep.
get hurt.
It's
Like
the
this.
truth.
This is the thing that we have to. Tony Robbins said the biggest problem that most people have is that they think they won't have any problems. And when he said that, I was just like, "Yo, bro, if that isn't the bar of the year, come on."
Okay.
I've been saying it
Okay.
for a while. I just ain't never heard it before.
I mean,
This
for real.
But it's like, you will have problems, you will have relationships that are unsuccessful, you will have people that let you down, this will happen. This is
Yes.
not, maybe it'll happen, could be happen, it will happen.
It will happen.
You get to choose who gets to be in the inner circle of your life and for what reason. And it
Yeah.
doesn't mean that everyone is like that. So let's
Yeah.
all grow up and not just be like, well, I didn't, because that one person or that one woman or that one man. Come on, y'all. Even if you dated 10 men who were bad, there's like 8 billion people in the world. Stop. I just need you to stop. Okay? Just stop. Sometimes I really do, like, I do believe, people have experienced traumatic things or whatever, but
Yeah.
there is just no excuse for not getting healing from that at this point.
Yeah.
There's no excuse. Even if you can't afford therapy, you can afford a book. You can
Yes.
afford that will walk you through, like, you can afford a podcast, which is free. You can
Hmm.
afford community, that's not always free, but you can afford those those support groups, that those are free. Like,
Yeah.
you just are choosing not to be healed. I'm on a tangent, I'm sorry, this, I don't even know where to. You're choosing not to be healed, you're
Yeah.
choosing not to be free. And
Yeah.
so I don't have a lot of patience for that all the time. Choose to be healed and stop making everything so dramatic that this person was not reliable. Okay, great. Go ask the other person, because they are reliable.
Yeah. Yeah. And do yourself a favor. Have your best intentions in mind and work on your healing.
Yeah,
Because no matter what, if you ever desire that this will be my season for love connection, you don't want to be bleeding all on that brother.
you
Spend
don't.
this time.
And he don't
Work,
want you
he don't want
to.
you to spend this time working on your healing so that you can start transitioning and rewriting your survival skills rules to be prepared for love. And like
Yeah.
you said, right now we have so much access to so many things.
Yes.
We can agree, hey, our parents generation and our parents, a lot of things they just culturally and
Mm-hmm.
just even our global environment, people weren't talking about all this stuff.
Right.
They didn't know to share their feelings. They didn't like. So now we're in a age where this stuff, there's so much free stuff. This is why we do this Tuesday after Tuesday, to help you get the tools you need to work to get your healing, so
Yeah.
that thou would be made as whole.
So
Not
that, so
okay.
that would be made as whole.
Like
Absolutely.
you don't have to
Absolutely.
continue to sit and honestly, just walk around with a mask on
Mm-hmm.
that says, I have it all together.
Yeah.
I have it all together at all the times. Work on your healing.
That's a great transition to our third point: strength versus guardedness. We want to talk about what it looks like to be strong, and not that be a and for that not to be a bad thing, because we're not, I'm certainly not, Onita's not saying strength is a bad thing. We're saying that it has balance. So strength is the ability to stand on your own, which when you're single you have to. It does, you will ask for help, you will do all, but it, I will say that people always ask me, people have often asked me, what's the hardest part about being single? And I always say the same answer: no sex. That's not what I say. I'm just kidding. That is not what I say. I say having to make every decision by myself.
Yeah.
And so strength is the ability to stand on your own. Guardedness is the refusal to let anyone close enough to share life with you. So the reason that I say making every decision on my own is because even though I have friends, even though I can get opinions, even though I could get, insight or whatever, at the end of the day, every decision that I make, I have to stand in it alone.
Yeah.
Nobody gets the benefits, and nobody has to deal with the consequences if it's a good decision or a bad decision. And so standing on my own is, part of the challenge, but it's also the strength, because you learn to do that. And sometimes I made good decisions and sometimes I made bad decisions, but I had to stand in it, and I'm still standing. But guardedness is the refusal to let anyone close enough to share life with you. So it's not like I have people who are just like, please let me. And I'm just like, no, 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 no. It's like, that's the difference when you refuse to let people share life with you.
Yeah. And that refusal, again, to me, is just an indicator that I'm unwilling to change. And
Mm-hmm.
if you're unwilling to change or compromise, and you're not in the season where you want love, or to be in a relationship. If it's your way or the highway, then it's you're pretty much be by yourself a little bit.
Yeah.
Unless somebody just wants to live in roommate, they want to do marriage for tax reasons only. There could be somebody out there. I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know if they want to intentionally like just get married for tax write offs and have a roommate. I don't think I've ever seen or heard that. But again,
Mm.
you said there are 8 billion people in the world, so who knows? But having
So
that wall,
tell us the difference between a strong woman and a guarded woman.
a strong woman knows who she is. She knows her values and her beliefs. She recognizes that vulnerability is a strength, it's not a weakness.
Mm-hmm.
That I can share with people. I can say I need help. I can say I'm tired. And I can say those things without feeling shame
Yeah,
with
that's
it.
good.
A guarded woman sees those things as shameful.
Mm.
Saying I'm tired, saying I need help, sharing any of my business.
Mm.
That's a guarded woman.
Mm-hmm.
Because those are things that could be the gotchas. If I share this with somebody, then later they got me. Or they're gonna tell my business. And so a
Yeah.
guarded woman is also distrustful. I would say a guarded woman is always on the defense,
Mm.
cold, quickly
Mm.
offended.
Some good stuff.
A guarded woman finds it hard to trust people,
Mm-hmm.
no matter what they've shown them. The person could have shown them all goodness, like I'm there
Mm-hmm.
for you. I'm a person of my word. I've shown you this. I've not shown up for you. But the guarded person is still waiting for the shoe to always drop.
Mm. Oh, that's good stuff.
And I've
Oh.
been there where I've waited for the shoe to drop. And I can specifically say, I can identify for me, it was because of losing my dad abruptly, my dad who raised me. So when there would be good moments, I was always waiting for the shoe to drop
Mm, mm,
because things can't feel this good. I just can't be in a good relationship, and he loves me, and he's here for me, and he's not gonna disappear one day.
mm-hmm,
Or we had an argument. I was used to seeing if there was an argument, my mom told him to get out, or she left out, and so that's what people do when you have this argument. So I had to be guarded.
mm,
And the guardedness also sometimes comes, you may be guarded to the point of, I'm never going to verbalize my need in a thing because I don't want to
mm.
feel the rejection. I don't want to have to hear you say no.
Yes. Wow, that's good.
So, not clearly verbalizing my expectations can come off
Hmm.
as guardedness, but I'm also silently resenting you for not meeting them.
Woo! Woo!
Come on, Holy Spirit. Because
That's
I didn't have none
good.
of that written down the plan. He's exposing me right now.
Oh man. I would say also a guarded woman is gives the appearance of always being in control.
Hmm.
Um, and she maintains control. Like everything has to often it manifests itself in just in some specific area. Like it could be like everything has to be in order in a certain way in her house, or everything has to be in order in the office, or everything has to be a certain way in some aspect or several aspects of her life, because anything that's different kind of shakes her, what she considers her foundation. It's not really her foundation, but
Hmm.
she considers that her foundation, her control over every aspect. And when anything happens that disrupts her control, she is destabilized.
Oh,
She
yeah.
doesn't know how to navigate that or handle that. So what's so interesting about that, Onita, is a good man can destabilize a guarded woman
Hmm.
because he's coming in doing things that are true and sincere. He's open and emotionally available himself. He's communicating. And because you're like you said, maybe waiting for the shoe to drop, it destabilizes you because you're just like, I don't know how to trust this. I don't, is this real? I want this. Like there's a part of you that wants it. And I would definitely not consider myself a guarded woman at all. But I can understand that.
Hmm.
Um, that is, can I trust this? And it's like I'm still reserved with him because I don't believe this is a real thing or it's going to last. And so I'm destabilized because I think I want this, but this isn't real. So I'm like back and forth in this in my mind trying to figure
Hmm.
out. And often you can self sabotage that relationship because you feel so out of control.
Yep.
If it's someone, if it's a, if it's a man who's kind of, weak, and he has potential and you can kind of control the situation, we talked about this last week,
Hmm.
and you're good with that. But a man who comes in with strength and leadership and but is not like domineering, and you're just like what yeah, you know and so this is another thing. But 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 what we want you to get to is what a healthy relationship looks like.
Yeah.
And you already said some of those things: vulnerability. We talked about shared responsibility.
Hmm.
We talk about interdependence already. Interdependence means that we depend on each other. It doesn't mean that we aren't strong, you know, capable people on our own, but we know that we're stronger together.
Yes.
And so your strengths support my weaknesses, and my strength support your weaknesses. And that makes us as a couple so much better
Yes.
than if I had to stand on my own. So, what are some other things that you would say are important around a healthy partnership?
I would say, and I already said, but working on yourself, like, we're always talking about, being single on purpose. So
Mm-hmm.
working on yourself, recognizing what are the things in you that you value. I love that in our community. A couple of Sundays ago, Ebony went through our values thing. I
Mm-hmm.
thought I knew all five of my. We went from like what 20, 15 to 10 to five. Shocked when I crossed out some of those things. So one, learning who your values are, who you are, and being honest with yourself. And I think that's a big part of why sometimes people get stuck is because they're not honest with themselves. That like right now, if you're watching, hey, ask yourself, am I the strong woman where I'm strong and guarded, or am I the strong woman where I actually am open to love? I'm actually willing to be
Mm.
vulnerable. I want partnership. Being honest and truthful with yourself, because how are you gonna love somebody else if you can't even be honest with who you are,
Mm-hmm.
and accepting of that, who they are as themselves,
Yeah, that's good.
and recognizing that your healing, your inner healing, is the priority first before trying to seek partnership. If you are somebody who always waits for the other shoe to drop, I came into my marriage with that. It caused issues in my marriage because, like you said, with the regulation, I was used to planning all the things. I had to plan it, had to schedule whatever. And so if the plan changed, and he's like, "Oh, we're just gonna stop here first," I'd be like, "Oh, that's not what I planned." And he'd be like, "Calm down. It's not me. We're still going." And I'm just like, "But I had this plan. Work on this stuff now. Why are you single? Work on
Yeah.
Get a grip on it because you're gonna have problems in your marriage. Your man gonna think you're crazy. You don't understand what in the world. You said you want me to do it, but now you complain about the way I do it. Okay, like work on this stuff in your singleness, but identify some areas too. To your point, like you said, you may be a leader at work, and we talked about this point. I think last week, maybe with our red flags or not, but managing everything at work does not mean you need to manage everything at home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and say, I love the point you said. I forgot to come back to it about if you're not able to follow leadership. I would say at work, but even at church, a church will give you some great training.
It sure will.
Okay,
It sure
you're
will.
working in ministry. If you're not able to work in a church ministry, you're not ready for partnership. Okay, you want to see your character tried and one
Working with them church folk.
working with church folk. If you always, matter of fact, if you always have to be the head of the department,
Mm.
you don't want to be in the ministry if you're not the lead. That's already showing it, baby. You got some work
Mhm.
to do.
Wow, that's so good, Onita. That is so good because you have people who be like on the nominating committee trying to talk
Hmm.
to these folks, and they're like, "Well, first of all, they were like, well, who is the leader?" And then
Hmm.
then they don't want to work with. Oh man, that's so good. That's so good because that's such a great place, other than work to navigate your ability to work with people, to work in partnership, to submit to leadership, even when you think your idea might be better, and it might be better. But like, this is the leader, so support them. And
Hmm.
I'm sorry, I one of the things that I believe in, and that our former pastor would say, is that when we're in the board meeting, we can talk about anything. We can discuss, we can, go back and forth. But once we make a decision,
Oh yeah,
we are all walking out into that lobby on one accord.
that's
And
it.
it's like marriage. We
Yeah,
can be in our bedroom, we can talk, we can fight, even we can, discuss strongly, but once we make a decision, we're on the same page, and our
yeah,
children and no one else ever knows. Oh, I didn't know why he just, like, when you tell your girlfriend, I don't even know why he decided to do that. When you tell your children, when you act like what your husband is doing is wrong, and you are not on the same page, oh my gosh, how you how you decimate the foundation of your relationship. Oh
Yes.
my goodness. So you're right. Practicing that at church to say, yeah, I wasn't sure this was the best idea in your mind, but I'm going to support it, and I'm going to not just support it with words, but with actions. Go ahead.
Yes.
That's so good.
Yes. That's it. And like you said, with your kids, if you're doing that to them, you're planting seeds of discourse in your children
Mm-hmm.
to where they will be distrusting of dad or mom if it's the dad doing it to the mom, and in their own relationships, they will go into
Yeah.
their own relationships like that. Don't
Yes.
do it. Don't do it. Phone
Don't
a
do it.
friend and call Jesus, but don't do it. Don't you say that to them kids.
Don't you say nothing to them kids. Don't you do it. The goal is not dependence, but partnership. That's what we want to make sure that we're saying as well. Like, no one's telling you from go from being like the super independent woman who just had to be because this is her life, to now you're just depending on a man. And no, it's partnership. That means your strength, his strength, they come together to make something that's stronger together.
Hmm.
And that's what we really want to leave you with as we start to wrap up here. That, oh, wow, yeah, let's wrap up here. This was good. um that you don't need to stop being strong, because that's just your life. That's my life. Like, I have to, you know, I have to live my life the way that it is right now, and God is our ultimate strength. So let's start with that. Let's start depending on God first, so we learn how to be dependent. Because even in our relationship with God, I certainly do this. I try to figure it out when there's a problem. I don't always say, God, you figure it out. I try to figure it out and pray. And he's just like, how about, I already know the solution. So how about you just come on over here, girl, and then I'll tell you what to do. you
Yes.
you just making up stuff. I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna do that. But practice to be interdependent in some arena of your life. Practice asking for help. Like, ask someone to help you with something, and let them, you know,
Yes.
don't oversee, don't try to control, don't try to micromanage. Just ask someone to help you with something and let them help you with it. Um, and remember that in this time, when you kind of employ some of the things that we've talked about to counteract what is our tendency, because we don't want you to end up in we don't want that to morph into isolation, because it can. That's the title, independent. When
Mhm.
independence is because we stay so stalwart that we don't find these other avenues in which we can be interdependent, and practice partnership, and practice submission, and practice asking for help. Then it becomes me and me alone. I'm the only person I can trust. I don't got time for nobody else. It's got to be my way. That morphs into isolation. And so when you're looking around like, where's my husband? Well, I don't know where he is, but you're probably not ready for him,
Mhm.
the right one.
Mhm.
So we just implore you to really take some time to, like, evaluate your life and where you are with that, and take these real practical steps that we talked about. Put yourself in submission to someone else.
Yes.
Put yourself in the position where you have to ask for help. Put yourself, practice these skills, because find that one person you can be emotionally open to and available and vulnerable to, because these are tools that you can use, that you will use, that you will have to use in your relationship. Because we want you to live, love, and marry wiser. That means we want you to marry. If that is your will and God's will for you, we want that for you. Our podcast is not about keeping you single. It's helping you to embrace where you are, while embrace the life you have, while preparing for the love that you want. And this is
Yes.
one way as strong women that we can prepare. And when we do that, we can tap into that softer side of ourselves, because there's like we're turning over some of the responsibility and the control and the independence to somebody else. So as we close, um, if any part of today's conversation felt familiar, here's the important thing to remember: strength is not the problem, capability is not the problem. The question is whether your strength has left room for partnership, or whether it has slowly taught you to carry everything alone. Healthy relationships aren't built on one strong person and one passenger. They're built on two people who are willing to share responsibility, share vulnerability, and share life. Sis, you don't need another rescue plan. You need wisdom that keeps you from falling in the first place. And we know you have received that here tonight. So until next time, make choices that will help you live, love, and marry wiser. God bless you.